Hello there folks, you're watching channel 1. This is my Husaberg FS650. I hope you can hear me over my son playing in the other room, but kids will be kids, you gotta let them enjoy themselves, haven't you? I think you'll agree, quite a handsome supermoto really. Love all the open spaces on there that just makes the bike look so lightweight, which of course it is. But I'm not here to talk about how good it is. Take a look at this, folks. Yep, behind the headlight, absolute rat's nest of wires. No idea why it needs quite so many connectors. There's a switch in there as well, which I don't know what that's for. And it's not even the worst of the wiring. When I took the tank off, I found at some point the whole loom had been cut in half right down the middle and just had the wires twisted back together and some insulation tape put over there. So careful what you're buying, folks. Here's pretty much the whole wiring off the bike. As you can see, the rat's nest at the top here, which I haven't even considered dealing with yet. And just highlighting where some of the wiring goes to make it a bit easier for you to understand here. And here we have the offending rat's nest that was behind the headlight. Yeah, 12 connectors, a switch which doesn't seem to do anything. There's wiring there to the ignition switch, but I'm actually removing the ignition switch and going remote with it. So they're all going to go at some point. But for how few wires are required on the bike, I've no idea why it's this complicated. I started where I could here, rewired the left hand handlebar switches. I did do the right one shortly afterwards, which I've not got a picture of. I also turned the top switch gear around, so the headlight switch is actually pointing forwards, but the horn is in a much more accessible place, which would be much more useful for me on the road driving through the city centres like I do. Also rewired the bulk of the rear loom, the longest part of the loom, going up to the brake and tail lights there. And I've just highlighted how the wiring's going in and out to the front indicators, and again to the headlight, you know, going into the loom to feed the tail light, and then back out forwards to the headlight. And this is just a slightly larger picture of that left hand switch gear there. This is the regulator rectifier off the bike. Doesn't really highlight how dirty it all was, and the connector cap was filthy, but that's not shown in this picture either. And right next to it here, we have, as I've freshened it up, you know, new sleeving, new shrink wrap, all clean, much more fitting for the road use I'm going to be doing. And similarly here, this is the loom, which really is the only one you need to run the bike, the ECU loom. Just showing signs of its off-road use at some point in the past. You can see how dirty the connector is there. And as we carry on, just cleaned them all up, you know, just took all the old heat shrink off, re-sleeved it all, shrink wrapped all the terminals and the ends. A much nicer finish, I think you'll agree. And this is the main lighting sort of loom, all the switchgear goes through in bits and bobs. Yes, it's got some of the kill switches and things on it, but yeah, it's the main lighting one anyway. And as you can see, connectors have been reduced massively, because all those on the original photos were pretty much just for exactly what this does here. And this is the front of the bike now, with all wires connected. It does run. I do need a bracket for my speedo at the top there, but that's not what I was doing in this video. Just two connectors needed at the front. The front indicators and the speedo sensor is all that's required. Everything else is fed out, connects underneath the tank in the small area above the head. Keeps it tucked away, out of sight, it's perfectly safe. And I know I've omitted the right hand switch gear in this video, and a short loom to the brake and tail lights and indicators, but it's all been done to the same level as what you can see. You can actually see some of the right hand switch gear in there. And if we compare here how it was to how it is now, it's much more pleasing to look at, and as I say, going to be easier to work on. And just one here of how it's connected to the side of the frame to stop them flapping around. There's a little loop welded on the frame already from the factory. Great little touch, works a treat. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed or took something out of this video that might inspire you to tackle your own bike if you've got a similar issue. Although I hope you don't have these issues. You know, it was just my desire to own one of these bikes that had me buy whatever was available at the time. You just never know what is beneath the skin when you start taking bikes apart though, so be extra careful if you don't fancy taking these jobs on yourself. And as ever, whatever you're doing out there, do please stay safe everybody, take care, peace.